Well, here we are back with Shummer, and he's giving us a warm-up tape.
That's right. Play a little dirty laundry earlier.
Little dirty laundry is pre-workout tape, and
Absolutely.
we've had a bit go on here. We got the Super Bowl just a little bit ago. We've got went down to see my boy play some hockey, and we've had what else go on? We've had some events, some skiing, some lots. So we're gonna have a little fun talk here with Shummer. Shummer's back.
Now,
What's up, Shummer?
now wait a minute. I'm doing all right, pal. Now, how are you on the ski slope? I mean, come on, 1 to
Well,
10.
we'll have
I
to
mean,
ask.
you're a hockey player.
I'm not
I
going to
mean,
honk my own horn here, but if we got Todd Bidner, which he said he wants to come on this thing, he does a little race report for his him and his buddy. I would give myself a 7.5 ish.
okay.
I still went and skied the bumps. He's like, "You're going down there. You haven't skied in 20 years." I'm like, "It's not that big." But
Right, 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 right.
I think my daughter or I posted a video of it on. We had fun. It was good. I my daughter who hadn't skied, she skied when I was still playing, so she was 3. So this is 20 years ago, and back then, I was just skiing backwards with a pole in her belly, and she skied into me, kind of thing. Well, so I just showed her, pizza, French fries, kind of thing, and I just need you to stop. I don't care how you ski, just be able to stop. And so, she was going well and carving, but I noticed she wasn't leaning on her edges as much. She was just turning side to side, and so I'm skiing up beside her. I'm like, okay, let's slow down here. Let's put on the air. And she just continued on and did her thing. I'm like, I had the video going, and I'm like, we're going a little fast here. What's going on? And we get to the bottom. She's like, yeah, I don't know if I was able to stop there. I'm like, so great. So if we had 3 families in the way, we've now murdered them. You've run through
Right.
the lift line, taking everybody out. So we,
Like bowling.
yes. So I'm glad we weren't in Colorado and the run wasn't any longer. But she
Right.
she had, I told you, I think she had compartment syndrome when she was running track, and her shins from the boots were hurting her pretty good the next day. So we didn't go back the next day. I think snowboarding might help her. Then you're on your front edge half the
Mhm.
time rather than lean on your boots the whole time. But it was a great time with my buddy Bidsy. You still ski, or you ski, buddy?
No,
No, hockey was your
it's
gig.
it's hockey. Well, you can't really ski during hockey season. I mean, that doesn't really work out that well,
Um,
because when you're done when you're done hockey season, I don't. There's not too many mountains in New England with snow on them.
did I
You know
tell
what
you
I mean?
about
So
my 16-year-old trip to Europe?
no, this is going to
Rep-
be good.
Representing my team Canada, and it was kind of like, well, we're going there, and I think there's some pretty good mountains called the Alps over there. And I showed up at the airport with my skis. My coach goes, "What are you doing?" And
What are
I'm
you
like,
doing?
"Aren't we going to the Alps?"
It's not in. It's
Well,
not in the clause.
well, we had we had 2 days of skiing, and guess who didn't have to rent?
That's great.
I don't,
Nothing, no knee problems going to happen from falling down on those,
right?
on the, going the wrong way,
Yeah, we had a
right?
good time. But yeah, so we're able to do that. I was talking with you, and then I was also talking with others, saying how, when you've got your kids are growing up and you're doing all these things, I'm blessed to say that they still want to, do something with me or hang out, and that's what it's all about, family time. And I've shared with you how much my cottage means to me, and I'm going to probably get my sister on here, and we were chirping about it last night, and our place is our cottage. So that's to be able to say that your kids still want to share a beverage or enjoy your time. It's pretty cool as a dad.
Well, yeah, that's the universal way you spell love is with children is time, time, because there's time that there's time that you're around your kids, and then there's times you're actually present. That's okay, yeah, I'm around my kids a lot, but are you actually present, Dad? Not
Right.
you, Chris, but
No, right.
are you present in the moment, or
Are you into your
are you
phone
just
or
there?
right? Yeah, yeah. Engaging and
So
yeah, we did another one earlier before that. So Mia and I did that, whether it was last week, and then we did a little trip. Me and my daughter drove down, and Went to see my son play, um, and then met my brother down there. He was able to fly in, and we played some golf. Played at a buddy of mine up here is an owner of a course that is um, related to or part of the Troon golf family. We went down there and played Saddlebrook, which is outside of Tampa in Wesley Chapel. It was great. That's where we stayed for a night. My son was literally playing right around the corner. And then went over and played
Nice.
Hammock Beach, which is on the water. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And so,
Nice.
thanks to Troon Golf, and that was
Uh,
it was awesome to be able to do that with my kid and my bro. So we had a really good time. Courses and great setup, and then able to visit some old friends, and then went and saw Moose play in Carolina. And my dad ended up driving down from Canada, and we go. He picked up my bro and went off. They continued north, and I went to. What a drive back that was! But then, actually, another little shout out for Chip, who's my son's billet's um, son-in-law, and he runs NC State course, Lonnie Pool, which is gorgeous. I played that, and he has another family course, which is up just north of Raleigh. I'm gonna blank on the name, but anyway, got to play some golf. You know what I mean? With that's time. It's a game that I love, and when we talk about what rating you'd give yourself there's another question. But I've gone up and down with my injuries. But as we were saying, hockey players, it's hockey and golf kind of relate. Hockey and other sports, all the guys, most of them are hockey players, and that's it. I always tried to be in everything. You know what I mean? I'm a
right.
multi-sport guy, as you were too.
Absolutely.
I think that's important for mentality. Injury for you don't be the single sport athlete one getting worn out. I've talked about that on a few of these podcasts. It's just too important to one. The 90% mental part that
Right.
is, is
Right. Right.
is too important to be. But those were our trips. Did you have anything exciting go on?
Well, back to that for a second. That
Yeah,
golf is great, but it, the cardio aspect is walking the 18 or 9 holes, whatever you do, is important too. You're getting that.
funny you
I
said
mean,
that.
taking you know, because you got to get the cardio in. You got to. I mean, walking isn't a great form of cardio, but it's getting the legs moving, right? It's getting peace. You're walking. You're out. Green sun, the sunshine, vitamin D, right?
If you're saying
Um,
walking isn't good, that's all I do. So I got to work on that. But it's funny you said that because I told my buddies I want to walk this year because I'm not going to want to walk before and then go play golf. Riding a cart's very nice, accessible. You got your beverage sitting up there. You're going with your buddy. You got your tunes playing. That's great.
right,
But
right.
I want to be able to, and it helps you get in touch with the game. Like I love walking, being able to go. You're walking to your shot, and you continue on and do those things. But yeah, we had. I went up and saw my buddy at. It was a it was somewhat of a quiet venue. They had their little staff party up at Monterey here in town. It's my buddy's restaurant, and they're getting ready to open another one in downtown Fishers, Tiburon, and it's nice, great food. They got some California-based menu, and then it's they got the sushi bar and the whole bit. Did you come to Rock and Roll Sushi when we were down in
No, no.
Manhattan Beach or
Oh,
wherever it was?
oh,
Holy
in
cow!
Hermosa,
Yeah,
regular,
the
a regular
the Monday night
customer.
or whatever, all you can eat, and you go for it. You were time limited. All you can eat sushi, and then all,
You're
all you
right,
can drink
right,
sake. And
right. You're like a seal. You're trying to eat as much fish as you can while the school's swimming around, right?
well, buddy, we befriended the chefs there behind the sushi chefs, and by the time we had to leave, they had to leave too because they drank so much sake that they'd
Of
start
course.
serving finger rolls, and
Right, right,
he
right.
couldn't see past their nose. But it was fun. It was like
Send him another one.
it was
Send the chef another one.
big, loud
Aye,
music like a
soy, aye,
dance
aye,
bar.
aye. Right,
I'm
right.
chucking.
And
I'm
they all
chucking
toast.
sushi. Oh man,
Oh
fun
God.
times. So you're saying getting out for walks and things like that. I went and tried. So the hot room here in Indianapolis, they've got a few locations. Real good people. HJ, appreciate. Um, so what did I do, buddy? I did hot Pilates and I did hot yoga. I would say, and you let me know because you're the exercise guru. I would say it one of those each because one was like I got sore with the hot Pilates because I felt like I was humping a lot.
Right.
You're squeezing your
Yep.
butts and your glutes and your abs and your core and all that. And then yoga was like the deep stretch, and we were talking about that.
Stretch.
I think both would be great for all athletes. What do you think?
Oh God. Yes. As an adjunct to your training, like
Right, an add-on,
it,
not just.
absolutely. So you want to, I would think you'd want to mix in, Pilates. Oh, is that enough? You know what I mean? Because
I'd say it's for the inner core. What I got out of it. So now I'm a
right,
non-athletic guy, right? Well, I guess I'm still athletic, but somewhat out of shape, just trying to get back in shape. So, like I said, all I'm doing is walking. I've still got some muscle tone, etc. But someone at the top of their game, if you're building on those things, you're doing your heavy. Whether it's a guy, the local hockey team here uses her, so they're
yeah, yeah,
they're getting their daily skate, doing their workouts, and doing whatever. But as I've always said, as being an ex-athlete, that core is huge, and
huge.
wish we started to get into it, but from injury prevention, flexibility, that when you're trying to avoid that injury. So I thought both of those things. I thought, all right, this is going to tighten the core, and that was the Pilates sort of feeling, and then the yoga feeling. Like I saw this guy beside me that I looked over and I was like, holy cow. Mind you, you better be comfortable because it looked like he was wearing his underwear, but God bless. And
Right,
like his foot was over his head and I couldn't even bend over, like put my foot up to my
right, right,
knee,
right,
and I felt absurd. And they said, no, you did all right, it'll get better. I'm like, holy cow.
right.
And
No,
so
yoga is just nothing more than force stretching, right?
right.
So how often you're going to get young hockey players or young football players to get together to do a 30-minute stretch if that's what you want to accomplish. We talked earlier about off camera about how stretching might not be the best thing
Well,
nowadays as a for
wouldn't
warming up.
wouldn't that be then, like we were saying, that's more of an advance then? It's you're somewhat performing the I don't know what you called it, what wording it was. Not just a stretch, but do a static or
Active,
active
active, active warm up.
active.
Right.
So that
So
that's what that is. You'd think, right? That wouldn't that fall into
yeah,
that
well, kind of. I wouldn't. I would do. I would
because of your
incorporate
heat
yo.
too, the hot room or
That,
whatever.
well, yeah, but that's terrific for raising your internal core temperature. So so think about when you raise your internal core temperature, your muscles, your ligaments, your bones are all getting warm. They're warmer, right? As opposed, think about at 7 o'clock in the morning skate versus, or even a 9 o'clock in the morning skate versus a 3 in the afternoon skate. How much more in the afternoon you feel warmed up, right? Because
Right.
your body, your core temperature is higher, right? So the hot yoga is good if you can stand it. A lot of people don't like this profuse sweating, but if you
Do you
can,
sweat?
anytime you can, oh, you sweat a lot. So it's a good force stretch. If you don't get a lot of stretching, I'm not a big believer in total big time stretching before you were to go work out
Right.
because you kind of need those stretching muscular contractions to push weights around. So
Right.
I'd use it more of a tone as a cool down. Just
Right. No, I
from
agree.
guys.
I would
You
say
know what I mean?
either on your day off or you're after. You're not going to go do this before you go skate or before you work out. I don't think.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely not. But right, so um, everything in moderation. But you got to have you. So we know that you have to have stretching, some form of stretching, to keep those muscles pliable, right? So
I
you have
was
to.
making myself laugh because I was like thinking of Shama while me and Charlie are rollerblading back from the gym. You were doing your calisthenics with your leopard thong on the beach.
Yeah, right. You're thinking of
Mesh
someone
front,
else.
leopard back. No, I'm kidding. Um, yeah, well, not only am I doing it, for health, as I want to look like you someday, but get back into it. Um, did I tell you I'm doing that charity game? I don't know if I told you, but you might have seen the last podcast with Jimmy.
I saw that. Yep.
That's coming up in
When's that?
March 2nd. So what is that? 2.5 weeks or so?
Hmm.
But yeah, I want to be able to sit down, post game for a beverage or two to be able to, and I'm sure it's going to be a little sore because they had a few people at the last one. So that'll be fun. See all the guys and do it for a great cause. So
In the wind, you're gonna have to get on short shifts because
it's
the
very
wind,
short.
right? And talk about core. There's no more core workout than hockey, because
Mm.
everything you do is centered around your core. You're reaching, you're passing, you're shooting, you're catching a pass, skating, balancing, your proprioception,
I
your balance.
Right. No, I got on the ice last week because I'm subbing in for some guys in the local skate here, guys that I used to skate with, and I thought, because I remember when I like the last time I skied, like when I said my daughter was 3 and I was playing in Quebec, that near the end it was like my legs felt stronger on the ice because I was using, I'd skied more than just once. I'd skied a couple times a week, and I was building those other muscles that would help me, and I just felt
Yep.
like really strong on my skates. Well, I thought maybe the same thing because my one ski earlier in the week, well, shit started hurting quickly. Like my hip flexor was in a knot. I just started
Right,
pretzel.
right.
I wish I was dreaming of the guy I saw in the yoga class. Like, come on, help me get through
Right,
this.
right. And you're profusely sweating from
Oh,
all the gear,
oh.
right? It's coming out of every hole, and
You
you
don't
can't
know
even
this, but when you have
control
a
it.
belly, that's the only thing that stays cold because it's the whether it's the fat that prevents the, I
Right.
don't know what it is, but
It's no, it's called insulation.
insulation. There you go. Good
Got
word.
that insulation around those all important core muscles,
Right. So yeah, that's
right?
that's been the plan, and that's coming up. So that'll be good. Um, we we were talking. Well, we just watched that Super Bowl. I'd say you might want to figure out the playoff structure on you as a coach too, because that was a hell of a game, back and forth. But
Oh yeah,
we were
absolutely.
talking, and if in football, like if because I don't even know the true rule in that playoff rule, if you're getting that ball second, that's, you and I were talking briefly about hockey, and in a shootout you want to go first or last. Most of the time I wanted to go last just to see that last shot. But hockey, you're either scoring or you're not. Football, you're scoring one of two ways, right? Touchdown, safety, or more than two ways of safety, or pick, or field goal. And so,
Right.
what do you go for? If you're second, if the guy got a field goal, you have to go on fourth and things like that. So definitely advantage going second. And I don't know, the Niners kind
What
of
about
spaced on
what
that
about
or
if they
what?
would have? What about if they would have switch it off? So you start each team, because every kick goes in the end zone. So they're starting
I'm
at what, the
25 now.
25-yard line?
Hmm.
All right, so you start each team on the 25-yard line,
Just like college,
okay? Just like college, and you've got a chance to score,
right?
okay? Now you go up and down, you go up and down, um, and you each get a chance to each get a shot at it,
Well,
okay?
the
But
pro is
then,
just you're starting at your own 25. College, you're starting on there, so you're already almost in field goal range.
well, right, so you got to start, say, on the 25-yard line, okay?
Whatever.
So you start there, and you go to, you go till you stop till you score. Then, the other team goes and gets, their shot at offense, right?
Right.
Or if they stop them, but there has to be there has to be a way that if it goes more than one time, that the team that got the shot the first time to go second has to go first the second time.
I know what so that happens in college. I believe, and well, all they were doing, the when you're
What
looking,
what
what
why does
is it?
Shanahan make that call? Did all right? So obviously Kansas City talked about it pregame. Saturday night before the game. What do we do if we lose the toss? We want to get the ball second, obviously, right? But did Shanahan and his guys sit down and put a premium on if this game ends in a in a tie? What's the best call? Now, analytic guy is going to have his take on things,
Right.
but a football coach is going to have a different take on
Well,
things.
the only
And
thing
I'm
I
a
can
hot
the only thing I can think of, buddy, is that they were betting on their defense over Mahomes.
maybe.
Because if you're not, and I Mahomes is a stud. I mean, I'll put him in that category due to the fact that I've seen too much, and I thought, okay, well, is it this or that? And he had nobody around him this year. Well, he has Kelsey, and he's got a better defense, but thinking about outlets and his rookies came on. Rashid Rice, unreal. Pacheco runs like an animal. But
Defense.
yeah, no, and the defense was Spagnuolo did a great job. But just to see him, and then I'm like, holy cow, he's going to get the ball and a chance now, and it just was. And then Frisco had a lot of injuries, but because then if you think that way, then they go for it on fourth down instead of kick that little pooch field goal. One, to try and score, but two, their defense has
Exactly.
got them pressed on the 3-yard line or wherever they're at, rather than kicking
Right.
off. And now they're at the 25. And they almost had them. They went for it on fourth, and Mahomes did Mahomes things, but I don't know when was that first. There was a couple of records broken. The rookie kicker had it for about 4 seconds, and then couldn't believe that was the longest field goal in Super Bowl history. And then OT hasn't been ever or been a while. So
Right. Well, they kick it indoors, so I mean,
I
how
don't
hard
know.
is
Is
that?
it my Chrome Dome or what? Why I'm looking so white? I don't know. You look great. You look like you just went to Puerto Vallarta. That's, Summer's it's got a taco tan.
Right.
What about, buddy? You're jumping off of football, but what about hockey? Your bean pot just happened.
I guess Northeastern won that again, right?
Well,
Did
so
they win
that's
it?
2 years, and
Right.
they're beating all these big teams. So are they just a clutch team? I don't know much about Northeastern. I didn't even know they won the bean pot last year. All I know is BU and BC have got half the U.S. national team. And then
Right.
okay, well, are these guys just gamers, or is a great coach? What do you know anything about them?
You know, is the bean pot a one? Is the bean pot a one game?
No, what's a one or yes?
No, no, no. I know what it is.
You know what
Is
it
it?
is.
Is it? Is it? Is
Is
it
it
like?
because of a
No,
one
my
game? Well, yeah, that helps. Sure.
yeah. Is it? Is it now? Your Boston College or Boston University, who's actually a better team this year. They're higher ranked, right? So if you look at it, is that beat that's Northeastern's? That's their Super Bowl. That's their Stanley Cup. Where BC, they've got they got their eye on national championship.
Right.
Northeastern doesn't have a shot at it, right?
Why
And
not? It's college hockey. You're still only playing when you go to the thing, right? Isn't it? I don't know. Has it changed? Back when I played, it
no,
was
but
2-gamer, but if you tied, then you played a third period or something, whatever it is for
yeah,
the thousand.
is it? Is a team going to squeak in? You're going to get by Quinnipiac? I don't think so. No. And
Are they still
they
up there?
you can, oh yeah, you're going to run into them.
How's Northeastern
So
doing in the year? I don't even know.
I think they're down with my alma mater, University of Lowell, right near the bottom.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, so we'll get into what's going on with the ULO program on another date, but
All right.
they're right near the bottom. So um, is it just is it the kids get geared up for that one game? I don't know, but they look pretty good. I watched part of the game, so who
Right.
knows, right?
Well, playing in front of the big crowds, I'd always, I like to see gamers come up, and then now to do it 2 years in a row, it's not just as fluky as you'd think for a one gamer. So, you know, kudos to them. Congrats off to your Northeastern. What are they? Huskies.
Huskies, Huskies.
Huskies. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, where that comes from, and I think those schools get a lot of Boston guys, right? A lot of guys stay in town, whether the Lowells, all of them. Like there's what are there 6 of them out there? Northeastern, Lowell,
Yeah.
BU, BC, some just
Yep.
outside.
Yeah.
Where's
Well, you
Where's
got
Quinnipiac?
Quinnipiac is down in New Haven,
Okay,
Connecticut.
so that's
So
close.
that's a program that came from 20 years ago. Nobody knew about them, and now they're
D3 or whatever,
in and now they're in everybody's conversation.
right?
Good coaching, good recruiting. They go for an older guys.
Where's
They're,
Augustana? My buddy's kid went there, and they just started. I think there's a lot of new schools.
Brindamore's kid went too, didn't he? I think
No idea.
Brindamore's kid went there. I think so. I'm
Really?
pretty sure. Maybe. I think so.
Well, what do you think
Anyway,
of
but
hockey today, pal? Versus our day, you
oh,
look at that.
you know, it was a much more rugged game than it is now. Um, y- you know, the kids have changed. The kids have certainly changed a lot. I think
I,
they're higher skilled, but you know, are they as tough? Do they play a tough game? Did the kids finish the
no,
checks
no chance.
did they finish the checks like they used to? No,
No.
absolutely not.
Well,
Absolutely
and
not.
that's not the game. And so, well, like, right when you're saying, okay, we can, if we're going to navigate through that and say, does a kid need to be a Rick Tocchet today? No. Is it still good to have in playoff hockey? Certainly. Depending on who that is, right?
Right.
And you may not need to go drop your mitts, but to finish checks and do all those things to gain the space. And like I've had that conversation with my son, he's not one of the bigger guys, but to be able to do that, um, to be able to use your body as that shield, I think that's why I might have been a better even roller hockey player than I was hockey because, now 4-on-4, it's more man on man. There's only the one guy that you just get your body in the way, and it's tough for a guy to go through you unless they're going to take a penalty. But
Right.
the biggest thing I've seen, and man, my son's playing junior now, and I played the sport for 13 years. I've been overwhelmed with some of the things that I've seen, and whether it's playing for the almighty dollar, the mindset from top to bottom, whether it's organizationally, coaches, whatever. There's good and bad everywhere. We know that. But like I was talking to a buddy of mine not too long ago, and he wanted to. He didn't know whether he wanted to come on the podcast because he's like, "Oh, I can't." My son's still going through it, kind of thing. And mine's not. Mine's not playing youth hockey anymore. But even when he was, I wasn't afraid to. Like, this is wrong, guys. And even
Right.
when I was coaching, I'm like, "Hey, our only precedent. It's great to make a little bit of money for everybody, whether it's the organization or what. But if that's number one, and that's you're running this as a business plan, and that's it, like survival for you, whether it's an ownership group or whoever, your priorities aren't correct. And that's just
Right.
going to trickle down to the coaches. That's going to trickle down to the players. That's going to trickle down to everybody's love of the game, all of it. And it's sad. I've heard, the opposite of, the money side of things is, the daddy coaches that I've heard as well. Well, I was one, and I thought I did a pretty good job at it. And that's, well, one, I've talked about it before. You can't treat your son, he can't be the guy if he's not the guy. If he's the guy, you treat him like he's the guy. You know,
Right.
you just like he'd be any other guy. Yeah, you love him. He's your son. He's your boy. You start doing the favoring things. Oh, that's going to hurt him down the road, and of course your team at that point because everybody's going to be up in arms. And
Right.
you see a lot of that, and you see a ton of that where we're at. That's kind of where Jack kind of moved on. But with not just hockey, I've seen it with other sports as well, and it's whether it's the coaches wanting to wear the jacket that they never played and wanted this to happen for their boy or girl, or I,
Well,
I,
I always, yeah.
what
Well, it's always the second, like I kind of mentioned on the last time we spoke, is the second generation parent, like myself, is the guy. I'm never going to call up the football coach and tell him my son needs more time.
right,
on the play. I'm not gonna. It's up to my son to earn his spot on the football team, right?
Hmm.
It's not up to daddy or mummy to make a phone call and to and to press them for and make them feel uncomfortable if it's a public school setting where like
Well, that's both sides
really
of it, right? You know.
so eventually your kid's going to run out of mommy and daddy. He's not going to be able to he's not going to have mommy and daddy on his to help him anymore. That's why I tell my sons, and you need to stand up and talk to the coach yourself. I can kind of
100% agree with that.
give you give you a perspective on what they're thinking and what a coach is looking for. Body language and practice is a big thing. I want effort. You know, is are you listening to the coach's drills and his explanations in practice? Do you have to be told what to do twice on a drill? You listen to the coach, dude. What time is practice tomorrow? Did you listen to the coach after practice talk about what time is practice tomorrow? 3:30, right? So remember going to practice. You always at the end, your coach would walk in and say da da da. You listen. My kid just got home from school, the dog, and
I hear comment.
so you hear, right? So it's up to you as a player to know the peripheral things, eh, right? That
I
make
want to
you an
chime in on that.
athlete.
So, Shemmer, there has to be two things to that, and we hope that all coaches, and so like when I coached, my motto was, not only it was eat for our team, that was our acronym, effort, accountability, team, but I shared with the parents, my door is always open. If you wanted to come talk to me, no problem. But it's only gonna happen until if it ever changes from your son's best interest to yours, I will no longer speak with you because now
Good
we're not
point.
having an adult, and I can handle that. Because there were some times where, as a coach, we all make mistakes. Maybe we overlook something. Maybe it's not like, hey, my son needs to play on the power play. It's not that. That's not.
Right.
That's when the door gets shut. But hey, he was feeling down in the dumps or blah 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 or whatever, just something at home or God bless. I want that input. My
Right.
players all know or did know, soon to know again, get behind a bench, that my door is 100% always open for them, good, bad, and different. But they felt comfortable, and it's great. I just went and saw my son's not here, of course. He's playing down in Raleigh, but his boys were playing their senior night last week or whatever. So I popped in, said hi to the guys, gave them a hug, and the guys that had graduated and stuff, that was saying they had a heck of a year and it was the best. And guys that aren't even playing hockey now, right? It meant something for them to carry on their journey, whatever. They're not going to play in the show. It was just,
Right.
and it still means a lot to them,
That is
and that's everything.
that
That's
is their show.
right, exactly. So that
Right.
that to make that important. So, and you got to remember, there's going to be some coaches that can't be told anything, and so if a player, you say to your player to go, and it sucks, but they're there and they're in that position. But like anywhere, right? There's good and bad
So
coaches,
what?
good and bad
So
situations.
speak in good and bad coaches. It all goes back to my Jimmys and Joes and X's and O's. So is it talking about Jimmys and Joes is all right. Take my son JJ for instance. Okay, my son. Now this is how you have to know and have to. And hockey's a good sport because you're
Is
dealing
JJ
with
known for Jimmy Joe?
John Joseph.
There you go.
So he's a logical kid, and so he's always thinking statistics in his mind. He's always been a percentage kid. It's like a percentage boy. If I'm up at the bat, it's sixth inning, I got a 0.25% chance of getting up at bat again. So in other words, he's a very logical boy. So if you were to approach my son as a coach and not understand JJ, and you were to yell at him, he wouldn't get you, and he wouldn't understand that would go right over his head, and you wouldn't be
Nothing
making a
resonated.
dent on
Right.
him. Nothing would resonate. Now, since he is a logical kid, if you sit him down and you explain, this is what I did for here, and you explain it to him in a sequence that he can understand, then he's going to be easier to coach. So that's where it comes to a coach when he's recruiting a kid in hockey. He's got to understand when he's sitting in that living room talking to that boy, or he's doing a write up from his scouts. What kind of boy is he? So, what kind of
Huge.
kid is he going to be coach? What kind of guy am I going to have to coach here? Right. So, you have to understand the nuances of each athlete.
So if you look at
That's
that both ways, and I'm piggyback on exactly what you just said. If you got a good one that can adapt, that cannot blanket approach, back when we played, 95% of them were all one way and they screamed and yelled. It's gotten better, yes. If you are one of those coaches that can adapt and do those things, you
mhm,
get the opportunity to have the different kids. You could take a JJ, you could take a Moose, you could take a, because you
yep,
can, you know that. If you can't, then it's in your best interest not to choose that kid, but to be able
right,
to express why. And then so the kid's not, oh, I'm not good enough, or no, it's just I'm not going to be able to fit that, or so it's, and all that is being open and honest as a coach, as a organization, or as a player or whatever. And because as a coach, all we're supposed to do is what? Get the best out of
motivate,
motivate, get the best out of every individual. That's all I'm trying to do. Whether I'm going to bring
yep,
everybody up this much or by the end of the year, that's it. And so when you're looking at those things and you've got, the quivers to be able to change, go, I can adapt. If you want to see my vein, which has happened a few times, it'll pop out on my forehead. I don't like
right,
to, but
right,
and it's not just for me to say I'm the boss. It's to resonate and make someone understand what the heck I'm trying to say, or what
absolutely.
happened, or what needs to happen moving forward. That's that effort accountability
Absolutely.
team. So
And absolutely. And it all goes back to, if you're a coach, not only the Jimmys and Joes, not only knowing the kids on your team, okay, the guys on your team, but also the X's and O's aspect of it is in hockey. Now, are you able to make an adjustment period to period? So, in other words,
right.
a good coach is as a good coach is going to be able to. And I'm going to get into my playoff. We'll get into my
Oh boy,
playoff
here we go.
concept on why this is so important. So, hockey coaches, you have 20 minutes in between periods to get together with your assistant coaches and come up with a game plan that you're going to implement the second period. Say that's after the first period, you're
What
down
you've
2-0.
seen, yeah,
Okay.
right.
All right. So you've seen it. So now you've made the coaches made in in period changes, not necessarily line changes, but maybe
System
the
setup,
black
forecheck, whatever. Right, gotcha.
the black line you're going to go one hard two, you're going to go 1-2-2. The second you're going to go up, the second lines are going to go 2-1-2. We're going to switch it around. So those in period changes are that's the sign of any good coach. Now, what I don't think happens enough, and this needs to be stressed, is in between periods. Now I see it a lot. Is coaches sit and they huddle in their room and they talk, and then they go in the last 3 minutes, just as the Zamboni's taking his last whirl round, and they approach the guys and they say, "All right, we're going to do this, and let's have a good period, guys." No, they should take that 20 minutes, take the first 5-10 minutes, break down. If we're down behind 2 goals, what are we doing? What do we need to do the next period to get this turned around? What are we going to do? Okay. And what has so you bring your defensive coach in, you bring your head coach in. What are we going to do? We're in the pros. I'm paying you to be my defensive. What kind of alignment are we going to do
Not
to
only from
stop
that,
their
buddy.
move?
Why not the players?
Right. Well, then you
Right.
have to relay that to the players.
No, no.
So
But
then
I'm
you have to
saying
sit.
I'm so as a, here's what I'm listening to you and I'm saying, okay, yeah. So right after you get in, you take that breather, you let the boys get their tops off, whatever.
Yep.
Before you even go to your coaches, you go to the players. Hey, what are you guys seeing out there? Oh, it's really hard to come off this guy. That D's playing me straight up. I can't get, okay, let's just throw it wide. You get their input. You take their input. Now you as coaches, you're the ones making the
Yep.
decisions. You take
Right.
that back to the room, as in your
Yep.
coach's room. Then you guys talk it out. Then you figure it out. Then you come back and present. But yeah,
Yes.
I th-
Yes.
I think it's I think it's you know
To
I
come back and do more of the same is ridiculous. Like
square square peg round
if you're
hole, right?
if you're down 2 goals after the first period and you're not doing anything different the second period, you're making only a minor adjustment. Really? Okay, so let's see. Line the first line of 7, 19, and 14, they scored twice. So instead of let's go man on man, guys. Okay, so I don't know if you ever got shadowed before. You played man, right? You ever got shadow you in a game where they
Yeah,
don't leave your side, Chris, right? So
yeah.
let's just don't leave your. I'm just throwing examples out there, just because we're on a time limit here.
So if you're
So
ever shadowed, what do you do, Shummer? You want to tell the guests?
you gotta lose that shadow, right? How do you
Well,
how do you lose that
just
shadow?
just go skate
Picks,
to or go skate to somebody
picks,
else, and now take two guys out of the
picks.
play.
Exactly. You pick, you go, and now what does the coach say? So now you're in between periods. You've got two. We're not getting enough pressure on the defense. So now instead of taking the puck and dumping it hard, you're going to dump the puck in real slow and make those two really good defensemen go chase the puck. Meanwhile, you're going F1 and F2 hard, pressuring those guys, and you finish and you check every single time. So what does that do by the third period?
Tires out the D.
It
They don't want to go back and get
tires
it.
out, right? Tires out the D, and they don't want to go back and get
And
it. Hopefully that right.
right.
That's the game plan. That's in a perfect world, that's going to happen. And then if the guy goes backdoor at the last second, don't do a flyby. You just wasted 25 strides chasing that guy down. We need you to rub him out, or
Yeah.
let him know that you were there, right? So
Have you? Well, have you dabbled in or know of the hockey, the youth hockey world up there? Because here it's a little different story. So
my kids, yeah. I kept my no, because my kids
they
when
were
we were in
in L.A.
California,
Right.
they played football,
Right.
and when they came back, they were a little
Past it.
old to get that. But
Right.
I got friends who are in it right now, and uh,
Well, hopefully,
you
being in
know,
Beantown, they've got the right setup. Like I think, I'm. Is it a little better? Sure. But where it's at here, I wish it was, at a level of. I think it could have been a lot better, but there was just too many people, egos, whatever it was, organizations pulling each other apart and bad mouthing each other, and then all the better kids kind of left.
and the coaches with their kids' best interest in line, that's relative
Mm.
to rolling your lines for 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 2.5 periods, and then if you need to tighten your bench up at the end of the game, I get it,
You could
right?
all yeah
But
you could always, as a good coach, you could always get people ice. I've never had that problem. When been a blowout
exactly,
for you guys that maybe not getting special teams or touching pucks. Then if it is
yep,
tight, you spot your third and fourth line, whatever. You can still make it work. But so
absolutely.
I had. Have you ever fold, buddy? I just realized I'm wearing my folding shirt. Oh, that's not fold. This is folding. See that F? It's like a Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You throw a football at bowling pins, buddy.
Ay, ay, ay.
You like that one? It's a good yard game. They got a few warehouses around now too. What do you
What's
think,
it called?
pal?
Foaming?
Bowling with an F.
All right, foaling. Okay.
You
What do you
wanted
think about what?
you wanted to touch on your overtime before we screwed off,
Oh well, we we were thinking about it the other day, a couple of us, and talking because the football with the overtime,
right?
and and I think that hockey needs a major overtime change, because I I just think that when it shifts into the overtime playoffs, when when it shifts into the playoffs become, you got guys. because it's sudden death, right?
Right.
So you got a chance of playing f- not only 3 periods, but a fourth, a fifth, and a whole other game right there.
Right.
Right. So I was saying the other day, so my buddy asked me, what do you have? What do you have a solution? I said, I'd do it simply like this. You would play your 20 minutes. This would be a hockey playoff rule. You'd play your regular 60-minute game, 3 20-minute periods. Your first overtime would be a 20-minute 5-on-5. Your second overtime would be a 20-minute 4-on-4. Your third overtime would be a 20-minute 3-on-3, no shootouts. Okay. Um, the game, trust me, is going to end during the 4-on-4. Okay, these guys are so highly skilled. If not, it's going to make it that it's going to be shortly into the third, into the into the into the 3-on-3 overtime. Now, why is this good? Not only because the fans are going to love it, because you've now compacted a game, now you've created excitement into the game. So now fans know that after the five, because after the 5-on-4, you play 1 5-on-5 overtime. And then
Right.
if you go into it, my whole thinking is you go into another hockey, you go into another overtime, you get more of the same. You're just getting another 5-on-5. So then what you do is you go into a 4-on-4 where the skill players get more ice and the games become more exciting. Still sudden death. Now the home team is on there.
I'm
Now
not
the fans are on
totally
it.
opposed. I'm not, I'm an old school kind of guy, but that sounds like it could be done.
Now your hockey purists are going to say, well, the grind of a 7 game series, and it's always been done this way. Yeah, well, you're losing valuable viewers because guys like me, and even my younger guys, they don't want to sit and watch a never-ending playoff game, a never-ending overtime. So sometimes the overtimes finish quickly, other times it go on one. Then you got to clean the ice. Then you got to come back and you got to you got another same old thing. Now, what it also does is these are highly evolved athletes. Now, if the game is a shorter time, that means they get more recuperating time in between the games. So you're not getting so taxed out that you're playing a whole game on top of another game, whereas you're done after a certain amount of time and you're done. You can recuperate and you're ready for the next
I'd like
game.
to know what percentage of playoff games go into overtime. That'd be interesting to see. And then how many go past the first. Those that would either battle or complement what you're saying.
All right, so now we go back to my coaching. So now the strategy changes. Now, after the first overtime, now every period in the playoff, every intermission actually means something. So you're going to actually do some coaching, coaches, and you're not going to have to survive on your past uh, your resume. Now
Right.
you're going to actually have to do some coaching. You're going to have to bring the You're going to have to bring the guys in, like you said, and actually do some coaching. Okay. Now your 4-on-4 is going to go. How exciting is that going to be? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now I made a couple of notes here. So now you're going to have the coaches will start having to actually coach in that 20-minute period, right?
Yeah.
Um, so
You need your
there's a
glasses for
more
your notes.
now there's a more premium placed on strategy, right?
Yeah.
Strategy becomes more important. What 4 guys am I going to put out there at right
Well,
now?
there's
It
more ice,
becomes
more opportunities. You know that.
it's the fans are going to love it. So what I see
That's why
is
they're doing
when I
three on
go to a
three
lot of
now, buddy. So it's that always wasn't done. So I'm
that's
sure
the, I
they'd be
love it.
open to it.
So taking the baseball model where they want to speed games up, every game's under 3 hours or whatever it is. Now you've just speeded the hockey.
We lost you on a connection, buddy. There, are you back?
Yep. Am I back?
Yeah. Looks like your internet's going to shit. So that's a good time to cut you off in your playoff.
Yes. Gee, thanks a lot.
No, you did
We're
good.
just getting
But no, you did good. We're at 50 minutes now anyway, and it's normally when we say bye. Um, let's do it again soon, bro. And I think it was a good talk. I think we had a little bit of fun, and I know.
well, Now you better, you go back to my just one more point. Your
Yeah.
fan experience, your fan experience. What the fans are going to be on the edge of their seat at the end of a 4-on-4 overtime. You're never going to lose one person on TV. They're going to be tuned in to watch the 4-on-4, where fifth period is going to be more of the same.
Right.
Get it?
Well,
Right. So,
Gary, if you're listening to Shummer, there you go. You got your game plan. You're set for the playoffs moving forward. Speaking of playoffs, let's have these Toronto Maple Leafs beat these Boston fucking Bruins.
I don't think it's going to happen. Sheldon with Sheldon Keith behind the bench.
Yeah, I don't know. I like I said, I think we talked about it before. I don't know. I don't talk to the guys, so I haven't seen the inside if they're all on board or what. So I can't give an honest opinion on it. But
Right. Right.
go blue and white. It's a lot of pressure, but
Do they have a lot of defensive depth on that team?
defense.
They could use a big,
Yeah, they
big
could.
defenseman like
I
a
wish they got.
Victor Hedman type of guy.
I wish they got that big guy Zadorov that went to Vancouver. Whatever. All right,
Right.
brother. Lots of love. Good seeing you. We'll
All right,
talk.
pal.
We'll
You
talk
take it
soon,
easy.
man. All right.
All right,
Cheers.
man. Much love.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.